having more responsibility definitely helps. But again, it's the natural instinct, like the instinct of, how could I create something? That's something that's internal, not external.
Welcome to Entrepreneurhood, where we break entrepreneurship down into 3 simple pillars: business, lifestyle, and motivation. Our goal is to use our personal experiences as industry leaders to guide and inspire young entrepreneurs to see the lesson in every challenge. Because we understand that companies don't succeed, people do. Now, welcome the leaders of Entrepreneurhood, Lakim and KB.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You got your boy Lakim in the building, and I got my brother KB in the building with me. We on episode 62, and we decided to call this one, Are Entrepreneurs Born or Made? Right now, this is a very, very interesting topic because KB and we were discussing nature versus nurture. And I think we both have, different views on both. So before we jump into the episode, we do got to jump into our new segment, W's and L's. And let's see what, KB and I were bringing to the community this week. So KB, to start this episode off, do you have a W or do you have an L for this week?
Definitely have a W. So
let's get it.
I'll keep the streak going. One of the W's that I actually do have is I got an accepted offer on one of the listings that I'm selling, one of the houses I'm selling. So we just send out the contract. Now we just need the buyers to sign, and then the seller's going to sign. She wants to move immediately, but I've been in this position before. But I'm going to, keep it as a W until it's done. So I just got to come with good energy because in real estate, anything can happen.
Yeah. I feel like you could, be in the fourth quarter about to win the game, and then the team hits a buzzer beat on the other end. So I know how you feel.
Yeah. So the best thing about it is that I only had to do 2 open houses. I really got an offer in the first weekend. But I want to do a second open house just to make sure because we only had like one day available. I'd rather do the full weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So I negotiate them, made them come up 10,000. And a lot of stuff we talk about in the episode, man, is knowing the pain points, listening, and be confident on the close. So I had them come up 10,000, negotiate that for my seller, and hopefully get that contract signed by Friday.
Wow, so that's gonna be Black Friday.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great day to make some money, bro, because everybody's going to be spending money on that day. So, you might as well make it.
Yeah. That's the thing about real estate. When they buy in the wintertime, they're more serious buyers.
Because, nobody wants to be homeless when it's cold.
Yeah. So as everybody buying TVs, they buying a house. So it's less competition as well because everybody focuses on the holidays.
That makes sense, bro. I like that. Yeah, and for myself, I got a few W's this week, right? So
making up.
Yeah. I feel like the last couple of weeks I haven't been bringing those solid W's. It's been like iffy W's, So the week started off, a little bit slow, and I was like, yo, man, I was like, God, I need a sign. I need a sign that like, I need more momentum. I just need more motion. And, after I ask for that sign, sometimes, if you don't ask, closed mouth don't get fed. And I just, got spiritual for a moment. And I was like, yo, I just need a sign that like something is going to click. So then that way I could, go to the next level. And that same day, like I had like 3 or 4 clients pay invoices.
Let's get it.
I got a call back, from the bank saying, hey, Mr. James, we wanted to let you know that your $50,000 line of credit, we're approving that. So be prepared to go to close on Friday. Same thing with what you said, Black Friday. That felt really good because I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to have more working capital to spend on marketing, to acquire more customers. And to me, that's something that I was really, really like, how could I, I was looking for an answer and I asked and everything presented itself. And then the last W that just happened last night. The week was starting to keep going in a great direction, in every direction, the direction I wanted it to go. And then I got a notification from Facebook, and Facebook was like, hey, Kim, we've been noticing your consistency with posting, and we want to give you the chance to earn up to $3 million in bonus money. And the beauty in that is, I could earn up to $30,000 a month. And the only thing I have to do is consistently keep posting consistently, and just get the people who are following me to engage, like just engage, an impression, a like, a comment, whatever the case may be. And I could earn $30,000 a month off of that. So it was a beautiful,
That's three W's, man.
Yeah, bro. So it was just a great direction, and I feel real good about that.
So what would you say you learned throughout the last couple of weeks? Like what was the most prominent thing that you could take on for this next stage?
Probably like what we said in the last episode, man. Take a look in the mirror, right? And what was so crazy was I just needed to take a step back and be like, all right, like Kim, what's working and what's not working? And how could I be better at closing? How could I just keep closing people the way that I needed? And you and I, we had a conversation, and I was like, yo, I'm doing my consultations, or not my consultation, my sales calls and my assessments. And I'm getting people through the pipeline, but I felt like something was missing. And then when you and I, we discussed it, I was like, yo, I actually forgot a big part of what I preached in one of the episodes. Is I was so focused on giving value that I wasn't really assessing the pain points. So I just took a step back, and I was like, yo, just get back to assessing the pain points. And I literally did that, this week to two or three clients. And they was like, yo, like Kim, I have to work with you. And I was like, yo, I'm like, it was like, I don't know, bro. I just needed that reminder. And I think every entrepreneur is always good to have a reminder. That's why we do a lot of these episodes. Like we never share nothing that's like groundbreaking that people have never heard of. But sometimes it's good to have a good reminder that either you're on the right track or you know what to do. You just got to keep doing it.
Which goes into episode today.
Yeah.
Which is, are entrepreneurs born or are they made? I'm saying I'm team made. This guy is team born.
Yeah, I'm definitely born, bro. Like I feel, well, I'll let you explain why we decided to choose this episode, and then I'll share with you why I think entrepreneurs are born.
Okay, so the reason we decided to choose episode, because it's been an interesting, long going battle between nature versus nurture. And when it comes down to entrepreneurship, most people are like, yo, I was born for this. I'm built this way. And then other people like, yo, I had no idea I would be doing this. I just became great at something and I wanted to scale it up and turn it into a business, take a risk. So for me personally, I think they're made. And I think they're made because of the different circumstances or experiences that they come a part of. Because we're going to get into the episode of the different pain points or different points, but what we want you guys, what do you guys think? Are you born for entrepreneurship or was you made for entrepreneurship?
Yeah. And let's dive right into it. So there's the nature versus nurture, right? And that's what we talked about is like, yo, what's the most important aspect of your development? Is it something that's, that naturally came to you, or was it your environment that really led you down the right path, or the path that you're on? And I personally think if you think of all of the greats, I think all of them were born. They had that dog in them. They had that natural God-given ability. And I felt like they realized that at a very young age, and they became who they are today. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurs.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in the barbershop who got that dog in them. but never made it. So who would you say that you give an example of?
LeBron. LeBron James. LeBron James is a born athletic beast. I don't know if you heard this, KB, but LeBron, there's debates that's going on that's saying LeBron, if he really wanted to, could have been in the league at the age of 16. I think his junior year, they said he was NBA ready. I'm just saying. That's what the critics are saying.
That don't mean he wasn't going to be nice in the league. But also, too, LeBron wasn't always a closer his whole career.
Yeah, what we're talking about is his skill set. Was his skill set?
But what I'm saying is he didn't have that dog in him his whole career. He actually developed that over time to really come through clutch in the fourth quarter.
KB, what was you doing at 18 years old?
I was selling on eBay.
At 18 years old, LeBron was dunking on professionals. He was dunking on your favorite players.
You're diverting the conversation.
I'm just saying. All right.
Now, Kobe, on the other hand, he was made. So a lot of people don't know when he came to the league, he was 13th pick. He was a scrawny kid. He was actually only averaged 8 points his first season, but ended his career with over 30,000 points. So he worked, like built himself up to have that Mamba mentality. It wasn't just, he always wanted to be better, but he used to, never really get picked. Like imagine Kobe in middle school and not getting picked on the team.
Yeah, like that makes sense. But at the same time, you got to realize Kobe made it to the NBA when he was 18. He was a phenomenon in high school, and there wasn't very much high school players that were better than Kobe.
But that's what I'm saying, though. He wasn't always that guy. He became that guy as he got older. When he was younger, he wasn't that guy.
True. But I think that if he didn't have that natural ability of being born into who Kobe Bryant is, like he developed more of the Mamba mentality. But I think Kobe, he had the desire from a youth because of what he was exposed to, and he just knew that you could look at any video of Kobe Bryant when he was 16, 17, and he was telling people, I'm going to be great before he was great.
Right. I mean, that goes with confidence, because if you could talk about Adrian Broner, like most confident dude ever, but he's not adding up to what he said he wants to do. So I think with entrepreneurship, if you're surrounded by a great set of qualities or example, is a possibility that you can be formed into a great entrepreneur, have a great business as well.
And on the same time, I feel like it's the opposite. If you wasn't selling things by the age of like 11 or 12 without knowing that you were selling or what you were selling, I feel like you're gonna have to put in your hours. And even if you put in the hours, I know some people that's been trying to run businesses for over a decade that still haven't scratched the surface because they just didn't have that natural bred entrepreneurship of like, I know that entrepreneurship is the lane. I think most of the great entrepreneurs, they knew they were an entrepreneur or that they were going to do something big before they even knew what entrepreneurship was.
Okay, so let me bring it back to you. So when do you think you realized that you was an entrepreneur, though you was different?
Well, my confidence really was built when I turned 14. When I was 14, that's when my confidence in just who I was and just my ability to do different things, that's where my confidence was really built the most. But when I knew that I was.
So wait, what happened at 14? You had a bar mitzvah? Like what? What happened?
So I don't know, man. I think it was just getting into high school. So at the age, after the 8th grade, Um, it was just a level of like, yo, I could do anything. And I felt like I had the ability to make my own decisions. So everything before 14, I felt like I was still under the umbrella of my parents, and I had to ask permission to do things. But I don't know, I felt like once I made the transition to high school, I was able to like really do things on my own and commute a far distance from my house. That made me feel like, yo, Kim, you could do whatever you want. Like now you're not a kid no more.
So taking 2 buses made you a man.
Yeah, I swear. Taking the Q6 to the Q44, I was like, yo, I no longer have to walk to school. And I don't know, it was just a level of responsibility. So I felt like that level of responsibility made me feel like I could do anything. And I didn't really crack the code of put all the pieces together that I could be an entrepreneur until I was 20, 21. However, when I look back on all of the decisions I made, it made sense. I was selling things at the age of 8 or 9 years old. KB, I went to the Sixers game with my little cousins.
Mm-hmm.
He just turned 8. And I'm like, he's still, playing with toys and, just being a kid. And by time between that period, between 8 and 10 years old, I was already thinking of like, yo, how could I make money? Yo, I could rake the leaves, shovel the snow. And that no one told me to do that. It was just something that I felt like I had to do. And even though your team made, you was doing the same thing.
True. Nah, I definitely understand that. But I'm trying to figure out when the change happened, because you was doing that at 8, and then at 14, you felt like you became a man because you had more responsibility.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you're saying if more responsibility can help make somebody become an entrepreneur?
Yeah. I think having more responsibility definitely helps. But again, it's the natural instinct, like the instinct of, how could I create something? That's something that's internal, not external.
So
Right.
so do you think if you had all the resources in front of you, you would have the same desire to go out and make money?
Nah, I wouldn't have. I think if I had more resources, I would have lacked the ability to be resourceful because everything was presented to me. But because I didn't have the resources, I felt like I had to create. And having, taken taking lemon and making lemonade, that was kind of my thought process of like, yo, Kim, how could you turn a quarter into a dollar? How could you turn a dollar into two? And I felt like I was forced to be creative. So when people, again, if you don't have that environment, which again, it's kind of making it seem like I'm going more towards made, right? So I guess it's based on your childhood and your upbringing. So from there, I think that's what led me to know, like, yo, Kim, you're naturally just a person who has those internal instincts because that's just how you were.
Got it. I mean, I think it's a trait of creativity. It's a trait of, being a risk taker, but it's also a trait of resilience. And I think that's the common denominator, no matter what kind of entrepreneur, whether you started when you was 8 or whether you started at 35. It's having the belief and the faith, because you got a faith because you believe in something that's not there or that you have never done before. And I think that's the part where you start to really figure out, like, why am I going after this? Why am I just gonna take the easier route, or is this what we would say compared to people, who wants to be an employee? that's the easy route. Why don't we just take that? Because we eventually gonna end up working more at in a particular time. So it's like you work, you don't get paid, you work, you don't get paid, and then you work, you get paid once, you maybe get paid twice, and then maybe get paid a little bit later, and now you're getting paid more than when you work, and then you work, and then you get paid over and over and over again. But most people never make it to that stage because the resilience, it runs out after like this is not working no more.
So for you, why do you think entrepreneurs are made? Like, what makes you think someone who didn't have the stomach for entrepreneurship at the age of 35 could be like, now I got the stomach for it? Because I don't see that happening.
I think because it's based on circumstances. So it's an emotional pull that's going to drive you to make those certain drastic decisions. Because if you've been working for your job, for 10, 15 years and they let you go, you have this little thing that you're good at. You might be good at trading, trading stocks, trading Forex, but you never really took it to the next level. And just because your resources been taken away from you, you like, you know what? I want to take this on for myself and I want to just go full throttle with this because this is the situation at hand. So that person probably never relied on a variable income ever, but being at the opportunity, this is what's given to them. All right, what you gonna do about it? And then they take that on and they're like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna start trading myself a little bit more. Maybe I'm gonna start teaching other people how to trade. So I think that's my reasoning for entrepreneurs can be made based on whatever circumstances around them and their environment, where they will know I choose this path. Now they might not be used to taking losses for a certain amount of time, know what it feel like to sell candy or pass out flyers or go door to door or do network marketing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But they'll be able to use that skill set because being an entrepreneur is just basically taking on greater risks than the average person. So by them just taking a greater risk, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna rely on something that's not constant, which sounds crazy, but that's how we live our lives because we don't want to live or work, the 40-year rat race. So it's really about what we compare to, like, what's the alternative? And I think by a person realize like this is my alternative, and they'll wake up and have a wake-up call like, yeah, I gotta do something different. This is not going to be it. Because after you be doing in a system for 10, 15 years, and you see people get cut by this, a disposal, you see that you're not getting those benefits, you're never getting that bonus, and you're never getting that higher position. And they're going to bring somebody else in from a different branch or a different sector to train you. You have to train them how to do their job. Like that, the corporate world is crazy. So they like, yo, it's a dead end here. I got to do something different. And it kind of just forces them into entrepreneurship.
So I think this, one of my questions is, as people get older, do you think their risk tolerance goes up or goes down?
Of course, it goes down.
Right.
Exactly. There's different variables in place. They might have kids. They might have, crazy expenses. But once they make that gut feeling decision, it's like, all right, I'm out here now. Like I'm outside.
And the reason why I even asked that question is because, it made me realize when I ran my sales company for, 7, 8 years, I was having a hard time convincing 19 and 20-year-olds to bet on themselves on a commission job that was going to set you up with like great training, bro. Like, not to give myself a pat on the back, but bro, I'm a great trainer. I'm a really great trainer. And I was telling these kids like, yo, I'm going to set you up. I'm going to give you the foundation. I'm going to give you a mentor, which is one of my team leads, to guide you every single day. I'm going to write it out, tell you what to say. And that's all you got to do is monkey see, monkey do. That's all. I just say what's on the paper. say what's on the paper 100 times, and you're going to get a few yeses, and you're going to make a few $100s a week. And the crazy thing was, I had 19, 20, 20 and 21-year-olds who were like, yo, like, Kim, I got too much to risk. And, I can't, I got a lot and not to downplay saying that a 20-year-old or 21-year-old don't have responsibilities, because I feel like everyone has a level of responsibility. And I don't know what their background, or what their upbringing is like. But they were telling me, and the only reason why I'm using them as an example is because they were telling me like they want to do big things. They want to reach certain heights by the time they're 24, 25, because I was like their role model. And by the time the age of 25, I've saved a lot of money. So at the age of 20, they're like, I want to be like you, Lake Kim. And I'm like, all right, well, you got to be willing to risk and bet on yourself. And I was like, I got too much, I got too much to risk. And I'm like, bro, you got to understand, if you're 21 and you feel like you have too much to risk, your tolerance, your responsibilities is only going to get up. It's never going to go down as you get older, or it shouldn't. Mm-hmm. So that made me come to the realization that, like, I was trying to force people into being something that their core, their natural upbringing and their natural mindset just wasn't made for. And I was like, yo, Lake Kim, you can't force somebody to be something that they're not. And the more I kept realizing that, I'm like, all of the people in the industry that had the most success, those are people that had some type of background or that had some type of experience from a youth, that they just knew they had that natural competitive drive. They had that, I'm willing to risk it all on myself. And that's really what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is, are you willing to risk everything and bet it on yourself? And the people who that won in the sales industry that I was in, those are the people that had the long-term success. Now, I'm not going to lie, like, I was even able to take a few people that weren't born entrepreneurs. I helped them become a made entrepreneur, and then they failed within 3 years.
That's a good run.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I was like, yo, 3 years, and that's me being generous saying 3 years, right? Like, it was really like 18 months.
I mean, okay, but that doesn't mean they failed completely last month. They just failed in that sector of sales.
True, but I feel like that loss that they took, they felt like that was an internal loss, or a eternal loss. I can't get the word. Like, what's the word where it's like forever?
Eternal?
Yeah, eternal, right? An eternal loss. And I haven't followed up with any of them, but KB, I could bet.
Let's bet.
At my last dollar that none of them has continued to pursue entrepreneurship at the level of they're trying to bet on themselves.
I got $100 on that. at least one of them have their own business right now.
Yo, and I'm telling you, I'm willing to follow. So there's five people that I took from, and I helped become a made entrepreneur. And I bet you those 5 people, they 0 for 5 and continuing to pursue that. I know for sure one is 100%. 3 of them is 100% not entrepreneurs. So if you betting $100 on the last 2, that's risky too.
Because the thing is, if that statement is true, then that's the same thing when it comes down to the corporate world, far as in, we take on we want you to be hired, but you got to have experience. So it's like, how am I gonna have experience if this is my first job? So you're saying to be a successful entrepreneur, you got to have experience of your own entrepreneurship to be a great one. If you don't have experience, then it's not going to work.
Because you gotta be born into this. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. And again, I know I don't know, and maybe you tell me, what's an example of an entrepreneur that you know that you were like, yo, this person I believe is a made entrepreneur. And again, that's why KB and I were having this discussion, because I know some people watching this may be like Kim, I got mad examples. You could talk about this or that. So KB, your voice is for the people. So when people are watching this, what's the examples that you have of made entrepreneurs that wasn't necessarily born, but they became a great entrepreneur?
Well, a couple of my funding clients, they actually had a 9 to 5 and they never had a business before. So I helped one of them, get the Airbnb. Now she has some pitfalls, she has some setbacks, but she's still continuing. So, time will tell how far she's going to go with it, but she wants to scale it up to have 1 unit to 5 to 10 units. Because I look at like,
how long has she been doing it?
she's doing it for a year. What? You said
So, 1 year and you say she's a great entrepreneur?
yeah.
Yo, you're being very generous.
What do you mean? I mean, she's good. She's not making millions in 1 year, but that's the thing. That's relative. Great is relative depending on who you're talking to. But if that statement is true, then what's the purpose of mentorship and coaching? It's only for people that did business before?
No, it's for both. It's for both. It's for people that like they value personal development, right? Personal development and becoming an entrepreneur, I think, is two different things. Now, some people, they go after mentorship to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, if you look at the statistics, and I don't know the numbers, I'm not going to lie and be like 20, 90% of the people, they fail. But I just think mentorship is more for people that value investing into themselves. And it could just be to educate, like mentorship is like education, and I think, I'm never going to call someone who goes to college to just get education in entrepreneur. And I think that's what mentorship is. It's just people that once they stop learning in the traditional learning environment, they're just still great students. And I think whether you decide to go in entrepreneurship or not, people still get mentorship.
So my question is, somebody who has been doing 9 to 5 for 10 years, if they take mentorship, you think they're going to fail in the next 3 years? That's what you're saying?
Take mentorship for what?
For whatever business they want to do.
Oh, so take mentorship to start a business?
Yeah.
Do
you believe that?
Do I believe what?
That they will fail or quit less than 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah, I think not all of them. Not all of them. I don't think all of them will.
So what percentage, if you had to pick?
Out of 10, I'm saying eight of them is quitting. And two might make it to year 5, and then after year 5 is going to be one man or lady standing. Because I just know, like, there's been years, and I consider myself, not to pat myself on the back, I consider myself a born entrepreneur now, looking at things in the past, not like I've always been a business guru, but I just feel like people that don't have the stomach to bet on themselves and to be willing to go after, be comfortable with the inconsistencies of where your next dollar is going to come from. I don't feel like if you didn't have that stomach as a youth, it's very rare that you could develop that stomach to be like, nah, you know what? Now I'm comfortable with an inconsistent paycheck. I'm comfortable with getting a bunch of no's so I could get a yes. I just don't see people being comfortable with that as their responsibility increases. So mentorship to be honest, those 10 people that are trying to pursue an entrepreneurship later in life, they have a better chance with a mentor versus trying to go after it on their own. But even with the mentor, like we all know, doesn't do the work for them.
Correct. Because I mean, the thing is, you're not born out the womb and like, I'm going to just take risks. So you're saying born as in the early stages of your life?
Yeah, I feel like entrepreneurship is something that comes naturally from a youth and it's unconscious. It's not like you know you're doing entrepreneurship stuff. It's unconscious, but as you get older, you look back and you see like, yo, I was doing that. Like you and me, like we was doing eBay at 14 years old, making money online in 2007.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like now, and you fast forward to 2015, 2020, 2023, and now that shit is trendy. And we took a pause from a lot of that stuff and now we're back in it. But it's like we didn't know what we were doing. But it was more of like, nah, we figuring it out because we're betting. We didn't know if online was going to work, but it's like, yo, let's bet. We don't got too much to risk, but like, let's risk something.
Yeah, I mean, for me too, personally, I wanted to work a job, but I was too young.
Your actions said otherwise. Your words are saying you wanted to, but you wasn't good at that.
When I was 8 years old, I wanted to work because I wanted money. But when I looked it up, you had to be 14. So every year I would try to, and then if you wanted to work at 13, you had to work on a farm. So I really looked into the workers permit. So I think that's the thing that's different too, is like, I didn't want to work just to be an assistant. I want to work because I wanted some money so I could buy some sneakers. Like that was my desire. So it's like, if you have a strong enough desire, your circumstances are strong enough, then it's going to force you into something. So when it came to me, it's like, I can't work. I was mad that I get picked for summer youth. So I'm like, yo.
I had those problems.
So I was literally upset, like, yo, what can I do? And I think that was the biggest blessing for me, is not to be able to have the opportunity. And then when I did have the extra opportunity to work in a cubicle, it was the worst thing ever. So, you done? Okay.
So now, like, all right, so how do you, again, what's an example of someone, because the one example you told me is your funding client that's within year one, and you're saying she's on the.
You mean like a phenomenal entrepreneur that wasn't always an entrepreneur when he was a
kid? Yeah, or like a real life one, somebody, because your funding client, that's not a strong case. She's within 24 months of running a business.
Okay, so put it this way. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was just a basketball player. So he didn't know anything about business, anything else. So what he did, he took people out that I used to be sitting courtside and said, yo, go on a dinner with me. I want to learn more. So he only knew basketball, because basketball, it doesn't make you an entrepreneur. You're just an athlete that get paid for a high paying job. So by him taking those meetings with people who are millionaires or billionaires investors, it gave him more insight. He was made into who he is now, which is a billionaire. But he was just an athlete when he started.
So now I think I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going. I see where you're going. Now, anytime we choose an athlete, right? Athletes are essentially entrepreneurs, in my opinion, because they bet on themselves to do one thing to greatness, right? That's Magic Johnson, again, literally sacrificed everything in his life.
He's 6'8".
Yo, facts.
He's a bull.
6'8". But he sacrificed everything and said, yo, I want to do nothing other than play basketball. And I think he made that decision by the time he was, again, 14. I think I watched one of his documentaries, and I think it was either between 10 or 14. He was like, I'm going to be an NBA player. And he strictly focus on that. So he risked and he was willing to bet everything on one skill, which essentially was himself. So what I think is athletes that take an interest in one thing and willing to risk it all on one thing, it's easier for them to transition into entrepreneurship versus someone that saying, you know what, I'm not. And I guess the flip side is someone could say, but like, if I want to be a doctor and I risk it all to be a doctor or whatever, that could be their argument, but I just don't feel like it translates well.
But that's my counter statement. The athletes, a lot of them don't know anything else. So it's like, oh, you didn't put all your cookies in one basket. That's the only cookie you got. You better dribble that basketball all day because you don't know how to do anything else. But as they get around other people, they get around owners, they get around information, it allows them to, step into it, because you could be Magic Johnson or you could be Kwame Brown. He was #1 pick. No disrespect, Kwame Brown, if you're listening. It is what it is. So it's like it's a mixture of both, but it's really about your experiences and the knowledge that you acquire. Because once you have the knowledge of doing something better, do something faster, or doing something that's more lucrative, you like, yo, I think this makes sense. This is what I'm willing to give up. This is the risk that I'm taking. But when you get that certain type of exposure, some people get exposure and they're like, oh, this is nice. This would be nice to have. Other people get exposure. It's like, I gotta have this, whatever I gotta do. So, for example, we went on our bros trip and went to Tulum. We had a pool in the living room. And from that day, I made a commitment to myself. My house, my dream house that I built, will have a pool inside and outside. And that was my determination, because I've been exposed to it. But other people that came on the trip, other bros, like, yo, this is nice, but I don't want that, or I don't think I can have it. So it all goes back to who you are as a person, your desires, and what beliefs has been put on you. Because a lot of our beliefs is from our family firsthand. And then you go to school, they put their family beliefs on you. Then you grow up, you go to work, they put their beliefs on you, like, oh, you can never do this. So it's a crazy resistance based on what's in you before you even step into entrepreneurship. Like, what do you truly believe about yourself? What you believe about the world? But then it's another great resistance of who you're around.
Yeah.
What do you know? What have you been exposed to? So, when you was younger, you was like, yo, I don't even get to travel that much.
Never did, no.
Barely left the block. So as you got exposure, you start like, damn, there's people out here that's really making real money, or, making 10x what I'm doing. They doing the same type of work that I'm doing. What's clicking? Like, what I'm not doing, or what do they know that I don't know? And I think that's the part where it's like, it really determines the person, because this will be a forever argument based on, both perspectives, but it really depends on the person of what they truly want and what they've been exposed to.
Yeah. Nah, man, I feel like, we could definitely, go back and forth for the whole episode on which, one is more valuable than the other. But I think we should leave it to the community. Let's see, what they think. And if they think entrepreneurs, are they born or are they made? So if anyone that's watching this, what I really want you to do is listen to what KB and I are saying. I'm saying that you got to be born into this. And KB is saying, nah, like, your environment could impact you and it could help you be something that you wasn't initially as a kid, but you could develop that, because there are a lot of stories of people didn't know that they were going to be an actor, didn't know they were going to, break a record until later on in their career. So I'm not, I'm not unaware of those situations, but huh?
So just bias.
Yeah, I'm biased for sure. So I just want y'all to tell us what you think, right? Like, do you think an entrepreneur or a person, is there more a nature effect or a nurture effect? So KB, like, what would you say are like your final thoughts or messages to the people that's going to check out this episode?
My final thoughts is, if you're out here and you never did business a day in your life, listen to this episode. Listen to Team Made. But there's opportunity for you. If you never had the candy hustle stories, you never sold on eBay, you never know what it is to actually flip something on Facebook Marketplace, there's a possibility if you want to change your circumstances and you want to take it into your own hands and not give what's been given to you, but you want to take and create something out of nothing. So I think there's hope for you. I think there's possibility. And a lot of those who have been born, who jump right into it, very risky, but don't have a structure, don't have a plan, you're going to be a failed entrepreneur that's been born. But all in all, you got to figure out what you want. And I think when you figure out what you want in life and you want to go after it, you make the choices that you need to make.
Facts. And, for my side, team Born, right? I think you know who you are, right? You know what you built for. You know that you have that natural instinct to get whatever you want. And that's why you became who you are, right? Now, the people who want to be made, say, if you got the guts to go for it, let's stand up, say it with your chest. But if not, move to the side. Like, let the people who born for this, let them shine, and let us continue taking our calculated risk and let us keep winning. So I'm Team Born, and I'm representing for y'all. So the last thing that we want to share with everybody is if you are getting value from this episode, or anything KB and I are saying, do us a favor, share it with somebody, leave us a 5-star review. That really helps us get the message out to the community and for other people to hear about, what entrepreneurhood is all about. So we appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Anyone can start, but only champions finish. Now that you've completed this episode, you're ready to continue your journey by connecting directly with our hosts of Entrepreneurhood. Follow us on Instagram at The Entrepreneurhood to stay updated with the community. For each episode, the first set of listeners to tag us on Instagram and leave a 5-star review will be entered into a drawing to get a free one-on-one coaching session on the topic of entrepreneurship with our hosts. Remember, there is no shame in struggling, because we fail, we grow, and we win. Right here on Entrepreneurhood.